Awesome. All right. Well, we are really excited to have all of you join us today. As noted, we are going to be recording the webinar. We'll make that available to everybody who is interested after our conversation this morning. I'm really happy to get to introduce the topic and the companies involved, and then I'll kick over to my compatriots here to talk about who they are and their background. But my name is Jordan, and I've been working in e-commerce and B2B e-commerce for over 20 years. And so I've been through a lot of ringers in trying to navigate some of that complexity. One of the chief challenges occurring in product data. And so now on behalf of my agency, Coalition Technologies, I'm really excited to join DDS and BigCommerce to talk about how that challenge has been overcome and to look at some of the different advantages that are available to B2B merchants in the market today with each of our different companies. I'm going to go to my friend Alec, since you're first on the screen. We'll maybe do an introduction there and we can keep moving.
Sure. Don't have quite 20 years yet, Jordan, but I am about at the 10-year mark in B2B commerce. So excited to be here with the both of you talking about how we're going to solve these product data challenges for industrial distributors. So I was also on the agency side, similar to Jordan, working with a number of commerce platforms for a number of years until we developed a company called Bundle B2B, which from a timing perspective worked out nicely for us as far as having an easy-to-use B2B platform in a box prior to the pandemic. Fast forward several years, BigCommerce acquired the company, and I joined the team, and I oversee global strategic partnerships. So the Distributor Data Solutions partnership and working with Andy, Matt, and the rest of the team has been a really, really interesting endeavor for us, and we're really just getting started. And I'm super excited to be here with both Jordan and Andy talking about this stuff today. So I'll kick it over to Andy.
Cool. Yeah, just briefly, hi, Andy Carlson, head of marketing at DDS, and I'm going to split the difference. I've been working in industrial marketing and e-commerce for about the past 15 years, so a little bit less than Jordan, a little bit more than Alec. Been with DDS for just about a year, but I've actually was a customer twice of DDS before joining, once as a manufacturer and once as a distributor, and both times DDS really helped me solve my product data challenges, and so happy to share those experiences here today.
Awesome. Thank you, Andy. And again, my name is Jordan. We started an agency 15 years ago. Actually, October 1st will be our 15th birthday. Prior to that, my brother and I had paid our way through school, got a better dorm room, and then an apartment selling digital auto parts and other gauges and specialty equipment to transport companies, mostly through dropship, a lot of cold calling, a lot of email managed orders, tons of pains because there just wasn't a lot of e-commerce in the early 2000s for B2B. And so that was, again, kind of where we began to learn how to do e-commerce, how to do marketing. And so really excited to come back to that conversation today. Before we go too much further, I wanted to highlight, we did promise an iPad giveaway. And so I brought in my kids' a good behavior pom-pom jar to help us out with that effort. So take a really close look here, if you will. Your challenge is to guess the number of pom-poms in this jar. And we'll have a time at the end of the meeting today where you can put in your guess. We are going to be doing closest but not over. And we're going to say it's between 1 and 200. So you have some help there between 1 and 200, closest but not over. Don't type in your answer quite yet. We're going to come to that at the end of the conversation. However, along the way, if you happen to have questions, you can feel free to post those into the Q&A feature in Zoom, or you can post them into chat. We'll have some time to answer those directly as we, again, navigate some of the conversation today. So, Alec, I'm going to kick over to you, and you can talk a little bit about BigCommerce and B2B.
Awesome. And I promise to keep the slides brief as so we can get to the fun part towards the end and everyone can bet on their iPad here. So BigCommerce, we're a flexible commerce platform. We started a number of years ago, really serving SMBs as an easy to use commerce platform. And then over time, really realized that it was a really good fit for B2B companies. So today we have over 10,000 B2B clients on the platform. You can see some of the logos here on the right. Overall, whether you're in manufacturing, distribution, today we're going to be talking more about making the commerce experience easier for industrial distributors. We have various technology partners that we can plug in to complement the platform. Truly, we're a flexible shopping cart that can grow with really a business at any stage. We've been ranked near the top in a number of these, I guess, research sort of awards you could see on the right. But ultimately, we're a flexible commerce platform, and we really have a strategic focus on B2B. And we can go to the next slide. So when we talk about the buyer journey for B2B companies, again, whether you're in manufacturing, distribution, or you just do wholesale, the beginning, that is really how you discover products. So historically, that hasn't been the easiest to do as far as getting your whole catalog online, whether that's having rich attributes, PDFs, spec sheets. So really, the first stage of that is product discovery and being able to really search a catalog to find the product that you need easily, quickly, right? So once that's happened, of course, the buyer onboarding process and approving that buyer. Historically, businesses, they've provided sort of their own net terms, and they've done underwriting for their own clients. Today, there are technologies that you can deploy to do automated credit checks and automated onboarding and credit limits if you sell to smaller businesses or you don't want to bring them through your whole underwriting. So that bit has probably become more efficient in the more recent years. Of course, making the purchase, order tracking, return. So for us, we want to enable each of these boxes, and sometimes combining these boxes in a way where you can allow your clients to self-serve over time, which ultimately increases your margins and allows for a better experience for your clients. We can go next. So as selfish as we are and wanting to be the hub of your entire business, we don't necessarily have to be. While we do understand that B2B commerce happens across a number of channels, still happens in person. You might want to use BigCommerce as a punch-out platform connected to your procurement system to sell to businesses that will only purchase through those procurement software. Of course, you want to sell on the 800-pound gorilla of Amazon, or perhaps syndicate your products into I guess to a lesser extent social feeds for the audience today, but that might be relevant for some categories. If you're a manufacturer, you sell to distributors. If you're a distributor, you might sell as contractors. So for us, the B2B site isn't just about purchasing products. It's about how can we leverage your catalog and our orders object to then interface with so many of these other channels, whether that's, again, mobile app or one of these other channels to really meet your customers where they are, right? That's at BigCommerce. What we try to enable is for you to meet your customers where they want to buy. We can go to the next slide. So looking in more depth, what is the buyer portal? So that's the evolution of our B2B product. We've got a whole bunch of features attached to it. I'm not going to read through every single one of them, but the idea is to enable this true online self-service platform where, say, the 80% of features that you might have on your RFP for your B2B commerce project, we can check those boxes. Of course, we understand that 20% needs to be addressed by the developers of the world. Jordan, right? He would be out of job if we developed 100% of the features for every single client. It's just truly not the case. So for us, it's really taking these features and how do we extend that and accommodate your business. Your invoice to cash process might be unique depending on if you're using Acumatica versus maybe NetSuite, or your order to cash process might be different if you're using Epicor Profit 21 versus Infor.sx.e, right? So there's so many nuances in the back office. For us, we try to provide this flexible front end and the corporate account structure to interface with those back office platforms and integrate with your CRM for Salesforce or HubSpot, quote to order flows. So that's really what we've done here is we've tried to build the front end that can truly interface with your back office, and with the help of our trusty developer ecosystem, make that as pain-free as possible for you. We can go to the next slide. So I really was adamant on showing this little GIF on the right just to give you folks a snapshot of what the buyer portal truly looks like. So when a customer logs into your commerce site, they might see digital catalog. They might be able to go and search, add a cart. Once you hit log into the account, we have this buyer portal, which we've open sourced recently. So you can skin this, change, any of the tabs for however you would like. But out of the box, it's going to look like this. You're going to have a robust quick order pad, be able to go in and save shopping lists, manage address, manage company users, orders, pay invoices. This is what the dream looks like as far as, if you asked me 7 or 8 years ago, what are you really looking to build for B2B company? It would be this, right? This is definitely it. And now the challenges aren't so much we need all of these front end features. It's we need to solve product data. We need to solve integration with our ERP. We've got complex pricing logic that needs, a dynamic, pricing solution, right? So we're really looking at the next evolution of challenges. It's not just features. I truly believe we've solved for the majority of the core features. It's really about integration and making that process easier, going from offline to online, reordering, going from a mobile device, etc. So I think that's it for my slides. Again, promise to keep it pretty short. I'm going to pass it over to Andy. I'm really, really excited about bringing the catalog of DDS products into the BigCommerce platform. Really, within a matter of days, it's incredible what we've accomplished in a short time here. So Andy, passing it over to you, and excited about this solution.
Sure. Thank you. Maybe before I jump into the who is DDS slide here, I won't make you go back, Jordan, but the slide that showed all the different features that are within the BigCommerce B2B platform. Like you said, Alec, 7, 8 years ago, that's exactly all the stuff we were looking for. We were all trying to build that ourselves, right? And now that it comes out of the box, it's amazing. It's one of the reasons we're so happy to be a partner with BigCommerce. The other thing about that slide is every single one of those items, I believe, don't quote me on this, but I believe every single item on that slide is made better by great product data, right? And so that's really at the core of what DDS is, right? So we are the wholesale industry's leading provider of e-commerce content. We work with over 1,600 brands, provide you access to over 10.8 million SKUs, and we work with and syndicate that data to over 330 distributors. We have many pre-built integrations. We work with many different platforms and focus in 7 core industries. And we've been doing this for about 10 years. We're going to turn 10 a little bit later this year. So yeah, we've been thinking about the challenges of product data for the industrial e-commerce distributor and supplier base for quite some time. Speaking of the challenges with product content, my guess is that if the topic of this webinar interested you, then you've most likely been involved in either building or maintaining a website, or are a product manager that works with the team that's responsible for managing that website. And if your site has a significant number of products, you know how difficult it can be to keep up with all the new products that are coming your way, maintain all of the existing products, the new specifications, new images, additional content that's created for those products. And so if you're building a new site, this product data can often be the item that is the longest lead time in the actual building of your site, right? And what makes it even more difficult is the team that's often responsible for helping you build that data may not be a part of your core product team. So you approach this new site build, whether it's a first time or a new site or from upgrading from an old site, and you kind of underestimate the effort that's going to be required to get this product data into your site and looking like you want. And so that's where we help. Maybe just a few other items on the challenges. Right. So in addition to building a new site, once you're live, keeping that product content up to date can also be a challenge. And then if you don't keep it up to date, it kind of undermines the performance of your site and undermines the return you're going to get on your project. It can lead to inefficiency in your marketing dollars. It can lead to difficulty in finding the right product on your site, lower conversion rates, longer lead times and quotes, right? Malik talked about the quote engine within BigCommerce. Bad product data can also lead to increased returns, which results in decreased customer satisfaction, which usually results in lower profitability, excess inventory, reduced revenue. The list goes, it's a long list, right? So at DDS, how do we solve these problems? Well, I think one of my favorite parts of the solution, you can click through, Jordan. I didn't intend for these to build, but I guess it's more suspenseful if it builds, but that's all right. We'll just put it all up there. One of my favorite parts of the solution that we provide at DDS, and our solution is called Content.io, is that rather than working with a bunch of different manufacturers with disparate files and different formats, we provide you that data through a single source in the format you need. And it's continuously updated at whatever frequency you can accept that data. We also provide you with unlimited data and SKUs, right? A lot of the legacy data pools or industry-specific data sources restrict the number of SKUs or charge you more for the number of SKUs. We have unlimited SKUs. When you work with us, it's based on the number of manufacturers that we map. But for every manufacturer that you map, it's unlimited data and unlimited SKUs. Often we've talked to distributors who have tried to source their product data through scraping, right? And that's a tricky exercise, and it's really hard to keep that process up and running. So we work directly with those manufacturers. So you're getting your data straight from the source. And it not only gives you accurate data to start with, but it allows you to keep that information up to date, which reduces risk and improves the performance of your site and just through all your systems. And then I know I mentioned that the first one was actually my favorite, and I think this one actually may be my favorite now. So it's the integrations that we have. We integrate now directly with BigCommerce. I think Alex said it already, but we can get your product data into your BigCommerce instance in hours, right? And I think Jordan's going to show us how we can get 600,000 products in 60 minutes or something like that a little bit later. But yeah, so we can get that in hours instead of weeks and months. And so now you can really reduce the amount of time that's going to take to either build your site or maintain your site. And so I think this is now my new favorite part of the solution we offer. So included this slide because it's a nice visualization, and then I have an offer to make here too, but it's a nice visualization of how we work. So as a distributor, you provide us with a product file. We're going to run a product file match and run that against our database and provide you back with a significant amount of data. We have a very, very high match rate for the manufacturers that you typically work with. And then certain tiers of our offer, we also offer a service where we will do manufacturer outreach and then onboard additional manufacturers and additional SKUs to continue to increase the amount of products that you have coming into your site and into your other business systems, which you can see here. We can map to your ERP, into your PIM, and most importantly here, BigCommerce. And so for every attendee here today and anyone that listens after the fact, we're going to offer a free product file match just to make the process of getting started with us easier. Okay. And then just one other last item. So in addition to a product file, in addition to all the product content, all of our subscribers receive access to Acadia, which is our relatively new product access cloud, which gives our manufacturers the ability, sometimes the ability to see their products in an online environment, sometimes for the first time. And they can go in and make changes to their product data before syndication. And then as a distributor, you can come in here and help categorize your products, enhance your product names. If you have your own standards you want to apply, enhance your descriptions before you ingest that data.
I lost Andy there.
I think Andy might have froze.
That's right. It's at a key moment. He just looks lovely. So we'll enjoy that for a quick second. We lost you for a second there, Andy.
Oh,
You're back now.
sorry.
You're right.
Am I back?
Yep, you're back.
Okay. I blame AT&T. Anyway, so very, very briefly, I'm not sure where you lost me, but this is also where you would access our Arcadia AI models, which can help predict the categories that new products should go into if you're a distributor, or you can help enhance. We provide enhanced product names and product descriptions through this interface as well. So with that said, now that we've kind of talked about the different features within the BigCommerce platform and how our product data can help fuel that experience, I'm going to hand it over to one of our premier partners in Coalition, Jordan.
Awesome. So one of the interesting parts of coming out of the actual e-commerce B2B side of things and moving into professional services is we talk to a lot of people in pain. Is often the beginning point for their conversation with Coalition. We have a pretty good reputation as a fix-it agency that can help solve some of the complex challenges that maybe were missed in an initial build or initial migration or an initial launch as part of a B2B commerce exercise. Andy and Alec have talked about some of those already today. They've talked about just the data problem, so getting all of the information that you need to be successful, giving access to purchasing behaviors for customers anywhere in the world and whatever device they happen to be on, or enabling your sales team to have that same capability, which is a lot of headaches that can come with that. On top of that, there's the integration piece. Typically, B2B businesses, you're going to have some more complexity in operations and back office than a consumer e-commerce experience. And so making sure everybody else knows what your e-commerce team knows is equally challenging. And the consequence of all of those things is that most B2B projects tend to be over budget. They tend to be past due, meaning you're not hitting your deadlines that you've committed to or talked to others about. Some of them are even launched incomplete. What you started out with as sort of the vision for the end state, you had to kind of give up on just because of technology limitations and things like that. And almost everybody we talk to, we're talking to a new prospect, and they're coming out of an outcome like that, and we get to play fix it again. It would refer to their B2B commerce experience as a negative one. And that's, again, over 15 years of history, so we've seen some of these numbers improve over time. But what we're really after as an agency is finding ways to eliminate as many of those problems as possible. Frankly, as an agency, because we're not technology, we tend to be involved in a lot of the weeds for fixing these things and a lot of the emotional experiences for some of you. So we're kind of talking about some of the things that we're after and what we've been talking about with BigCommerce and with DDS that we're looking to resolve. And again, we've highlighted some of these already. We don't want to be repurposing B2C solutions and have them masquerade as B2B. Those cracks usually show up pretty quickly. We want to make sure that we are integrating as an agency and as a service provider with e-commerce ready data sets and providers. Again, massive headache. So many of the B2B data sets we've worked with have felt like they were maintained through fax machines for decades before they were supposed to be published online. We also want to make sure that we're providing everything as an agency that's necessary for a successful launch. There's a lot that goes into it, even beyond the technology and even beyond the data. And so that's what we're here for. We're trying to make sure that everything is addressed for you or can be addressed for you if you feel like you need support there. And then finally, most of the companies we're talking to today, they're not really interested in maintaining some slightly more efficient version of what they already have. By launching e-commerce, they're looking at growing and seeing growth through digital marketing. And so that requires, again, some special skill sets, which we can bring to the table. As Andy had talked about a few moments ago, we wanted to demo for you our connector, which we've built and is now available in the BigCommerce app marketplace, which allows you to take advantage of what DDS does through Content.io and seamlessly deploy that. So the demonstration video we have, we've shortened just for the sake of this webinar a bit. But again, the goal is to take you live with 100,000 SKUs inside of an hour. There's more to it than that, of course, but we are really able to deliver on that promise with what we built here. So we'll get this video rolling for you. And I'll maybe talk through a couple of these things here. So This timeline won't be perfect, but it does give you sort of an end state. We can sign up for a BigCommerce store, go forward with a B2B edition very quickly. Again, BigCommerce has that SaaS background. Once we're installed with BigCommerce, we can install the DDS app. We can begin to sync our product data with DDS's match file. And that begins to show up in your BigCommerce environment pretty quickly. Again, the current timing that we have is about 100,000 SKUs inside of an hour. So we can move quite quickly there. Once the products are in your store, they're creating categories, they're creating brands, they're creating different filters and search features that you can utilize or provide to your buyers. And we also have the ability to sync to these visual widgets. These work with almost any BigCommerce theme, which is a really neat feature of the DDS app, is that you don't have to have custom design to begin incorporating some of the unique product data. These widgets are also stylable. So if you are working with an agency, if you're working with a third party like us, we're able to customize the look and feel and presentation of these for you relatively quickly. And so again, just sort of that particular demo, we're able to showcase how we can go from really almost a zero starting point to live with 100,000 SKUs in short order. Of course, we want to talk about integrations with ERPs and shipping providers and tax and all of those other things. But a lot of that is pretty commonplace. And so kind of looking at one of our case studies prior to this particular launch, took us 4 months to go live. And about a month and a half of that was tied back to our data integration, data import piece and standardizing that. And so we really believe we can shave a custom design, development, launch process off significantly and still pick up all of the benefits that you would be looking for in the e-commerce experience as a whole. We will publish, Alec, just before the end, the link to the app listing, absolutely. Okay, so I wanted to flip over here to Q&A.
There was a question. Yeah, I think there was a question in there for Andy. And
Yep.
Jordan, I want you to play that again because it went by so fast. So yeah, so you fast forwarded this to 1 minute, but this is effectively simulating going into the back end, finding, at 0.5, there we go, Alex speed, right? So finding the app, right? And then you'll post a link to that app. You install the app, confirm to access the catalog. Now we're in Content IO, right? But is that within the app itself, or have I then logged into DDS? It's still within the BigCommerce app. And now this is basically syncing all of the products that I've set up in DDS for this particular store, right?
Yep.
And then once those products are in BigCommerce from the app, you're able to then apply your widgets to whichever theme to then provide all the rich content, like the PDF spec sheets, everything else. Widget sync process. So first it's a catalog, gives you all the raw information, then you can sync the widgets. That's incredible.
Yeah, we
I've
segmented
never seen
the two.
this efficient. Really.
Yeah, we segmented the two because not all product data is necessarily front-end data. So the widgets allow us to display this visually to someone navigating certain aspects of your store. These can be segmented by category and a range of other ways. So again, you may not necessarily want spec sheets or downloadable features for some categories.
You can toggle the widgets per product object. I assume that you have some assignment there in your application as well.
Yep.
That's amazing.
And you can see with, I mean, even stuff like this, where you have sort of rich media, like a 360 image, we're pulling that in thanks to DDS. And a lot of these things, just again, speaking from the design development service side, are major headaches. We're working with 10 different providers trying to pull together one storefront. With DDS, we're able to navigate this and make that accessible very, very quickly.
So this really solves the challenge of trying to sync everything from your ERP, right? You can have a SKU that ties into that inventory value and the price, but all the rich content in e-commerce doesn't have to get pulled from there. DDS can provide that, and the Coalition app can then decouple what you see on the front end from a widgets perspective, which is so powerful. then having to then go and customize attributes and meta fields directly within a catalog to then just, I mean, that's incredible, really, Jordan. Thank you so much.
Yep. Yeah, we were really excited to do this because it, again, just our experience, it's been our pain. We've shared that pain with merchants over the years. And so being able to move past one of the biggest headache points is really, really significant.
Yeah, that pain is why we exist.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's why DDS was founded, is because of that pain. So yeah, that's a great demo. I love it. I love it. There, I see the question. There's a question here from the audience. Question is, let me go back to the Q&A tab here. What's the difference between getting data from DDS and another source like the IDEA connector? So I'll address maybe the IDEA connector. For those of you that aren't in the electrical industry, IDEA is an electrical data source. It's a data source for the electrical industry. And since we got our start in the electrical industry, that's a question we get quite often. I would start with the primary use of IDEA data is typically for your ERP, right? While DDS data can go into your ERP, its primary purpose is for your website. We can send it into your PIM, a bunch of different sources. In addition to IDEA is for electrical industry, we work across many different industries, and so we can truly be your single source of data. We have about 5 times as many SKUs. And it's unlimited data, so we don't have many unique formats and unlimited data. Whereas IDEA kind of limits the number of specifications and/or data you can receive. We have unlimited data for unlimited SKUs. There's maybe just one other thing to highlight there is the product file match process, right? That we use to map your data to our product database. IDEA doesn't do that. And then, yeah, we already talked about the unlimited data. So that's, IDEA's primary purpose is for your ERP, whereas we can work across systems with a lot more data, much richer data, and continuously updated.
Awesome. Anybody else with a question, you can enter it into the chat or the Q&A tab. Either will work for us. We'll give everybody a couple of seconds here before we move forward. I did actually doing a demo of this live for a merchant. One of the kind of questions they had is, what is sort of the effective cost savings of trying to do something like this instead of building your own, because that's what they've done previously. They were on a Magento open source build. And so I could speak to our experience. I asked them to give us a little bit of an inventory of their running costs of maintenance and the initial build, and they were pretty healthily into $400,000 or $500,000 mark between a 5-year run. And that was the initial build, integrating to their ERP, finding a way to essentially build a custom app to ingest their own data sources, and then every 3 months sending a team of developers and engineers to figure out what happens when someone is changing the data structure or is adding something new to it and it breaks their old import process, and then having to use, in their case, they're trying to use Magento as the hub for all of this data connection, which really is not intended to be. And so they ran up a tab of almost $500,000 from doing that. And I think between DDS and BigCommerce and Coalition, almost all of those costs can go away. Obviously, you have to still build, still have to implement. There's costs associated with that, but it's just an enormous cost savings when you're not in this DIY sort of experience. All right.
Jordan, if I was in the audience today, one of the questions I might have is we talked a lot, we showed a demo of the new site build, but if I'm an existing BigCommerce customer, can I utilize this app to improve the product experience in my existing store?
Absolutely. Yeah. So this can be installed to any BigCommerce store. So again, we've seen some really interesting different ways of utilizing BigCommerce's, I think open flexibility is the term, Alec, or open SaaS. And so I think what we were really aiming for is that this app would really be approachable for anybody. So there's an opportunity to self-deploy without design development experience for any app and any theme. Obviously, if you're working in a live environment, you're transacting healthily and you want to style it, use a staging store or something like that, but it really can be deployed pretty instantaneously. The keys there will be, you'll want to have your account ready with DDS. DDS will need to get your store hash, which is sort of a unique identifier for your BigCommerce store. And then once DDS has that, they'll be able to begin publishing your match file. The app will match to that particular store data set, and then we can begin importing. You'll get an error that says, hey, your file was not actually found with DDS if you get to do that. I think we do have some sample data that you can ingest, but other than that, it will tell you that you don't have your full match file there.
Excellent. Thank you.
All right, let's see if we have any other questions in there. Do we have control over the sync frequency in the app? So I'll take that one. That's for us. And the answer is yes. So you have the ability to choose when and why you're syncing that product data. So that can be run on a schedule or on some specific triggers. So you're not necessarily trying to ingest a full amount of new data every day. One of the things that DDS also does is provides us with updated data. So we're not necessarily trying to re-ingest a whole catalog if you're running that off of a schedule or something like that. That's a good question. Thank you, Cassio. Anybody else? Alec, Andy, either of you have any questions or vice versa?
Let's let the iPad get given away, and then we'll see how many people are left after that for questions.
Got it. All right. Well, I did get one more question just when we started prompting it too.
Okay. Oh, we got two. We have two, so no iPad yet. All right. I was just gonna give away the iPad, so
Make
now
it
it's
easy.
yeah.
I think we could probably each take a bit of a tackle on Mitchell's question.
Sure.
From my perspective, there's a few different lines of thinking that we've seen become more common in B2B. First, the B2B buyer and expectations are inclined digitally. A lot of the conversations I'm now having with clients and with their representatives who are managing these projects are talking about a younger buyer than they've ever had who is inclined to do things digitally, and asking them to do things in more rudimentary, manual type processes or on data technology is offensive. And frankly, a lot of them begin to look for other solutions. I was actually talking to a client, and one of their biggest accounts, they were starting to see a pretty steady drop in some small inventory type items that were kind of just a nice fluff, but they were beginning to hit the margins of what they were doing. And they talked to their buyer rep on the other side, and they were actually starting to fill some of their orders through Amazon because they couldn't navigate. They didn't want to have to talk to somebody. They didn't want to have to go through a typical purchasing process. It was just easier to buy on Amazon, even paying a higher rate. And so I would say the expectations of your customers are going to be more towards digital. And then I think also just the net new customer opportunities. A lot of our distributor customers, they're typically working on a relatively regional basis. And they're limited by that and have been for maybe the last 100 years. And so moving to an e-commerce experience that really allows them to expand operations. That same client of ours now is multi-state, and their e-commerce piece is a key selling point for them, where they're able to go in and open up new accounts and say, like, hey, you can shop anywhere you are, where your team members are. They don't have to meet with us to make that happen.
I guess I'll take a crack at this, and I always approach these with the sales team in my corner. So if you don't have the sales team bought in, then likely you're not going to get anywhere, especially in traditional business that's been around for that long, with reps driving the majority of basically top line revenue, right? So I'd say from a sales rep's perspective, being able to have an advanced search tool that can pretty quickly auto find products, or then while I'm on the phone, instead of placing an order into my ERP, I can go masquerade. The customer never actually has to log in to their account, right? We could already have created the account on the site. It's protected behind a login. No one's going to see their pricing, but I could go either through the public site catalog, search and find the item, go and add that specifically into that customer's cart, place the order on behalf of that customer, and then maybe down the line, 15, 20 years, I mean, maybe that's too long, maybe in like 5 years, right? Someone from that company is interested in using an online portal, right? At some point, it's going to happen.
Yeah.
There will already be years of order history and, invoice history and other things because the sales rep decided that it was easier to search an online catalog and key in orders through the Amazon-like experience, even though I hate saying that.
Yeah.
I believe that our buyer portal provides better B2B experience than Amazon does
Sure.
from a functionality perspective, reordering, et cetera, for going forward, right? So I'd say, start as a tool for the sales rep, provide a demo specifically to the sales team, and just say, what if you had this at your disposal? You don't need to use it for all your clients, but what if there were some small businesses? And then there's the other bit that I was talking about, which is for onboarding. So it's expanding your reach to more clients. So there's a large overhead associated with underwriting and onboarding new business customers. And typically that department is very small, about the same size as the marketing department at a large distribution business, right? So being able to streamline that process of going and underwriting new companies, approving them, and then perhaps providing a base price catalog, more or less, what you would make off of an Amazon after the fees, right? Order, but through a direct site to a small business that otherwise maybe wouldn't have found you if you didn't have your products indexed to Google, right? That would be where I would start with that conversation.
Mm-hmm. And maybe kind of at the last question that kind of came in, Alec, and I'll maybe try to take a crack at answering it too, is how do you get the sales team bought in when they're very non-receptive to the concept? For us, again, that specific client we're talking to, they're actually making this a tool for their salespeople, where before there was a lot of manual legwork, a lot of manual follow-up, a lot of mistakes made in sort of existing processes, and going to an e-commerce based solution. They now have access to full catalog, full inventory. They can search data inside of that site experience themselves. We actually, in a lot of implementations, will do sort of gated content that is protected and is salesperson specific. So they can be out and having that conversation, and they'll have information that maybe isn't, public or customer facing. So they can share that readily. They have much better customer history. It's a lot easier to access from a phone or from a tablet. With internet connectivity. Again, we even have some customers who are building a mobile app experience that feeds off of BigCommerce data, so they can again access that wherever they are. And again, I think sort of looking at some traditional incentive structures, still supporting and strengthening those. So don't take away the commission that might come from it. So we have again built into these, you can attribute orders to certain salespeople, either on an order basis or on a customer account basis. So all of those sort of necessities are really in place. And what we find is salespeople are somewhat energized by it. They see the opportunity of handling a much larger volume of accounts and orders, and being a much smarter salesperson, and a much more valuable salesperson rather than somebody who's diminished because of the e-commerce experience.
Yeah, I would agree with that. You hit on one of the major points that we hear across every sales team, which is the e-commerce site taking away revenue from that out of their pocket, right? So that attribution model, I think getting ahead of that and showing, the functionality of assigning sales reps or staff to accounts. And then when a new account comes in based off of that geo or region, it can go before it's approved, it can get routed to the rep. They can give them a call, go through their traditional process, right? And then once that account's approved, it's an option to provide self-service, right? But I'd say just having an online digital catalog, that's going to generate more leads, right? Because now you've gone from not indexing your catalog to Google to indexing your catalog to Google. You're in the game, right? And then we haven't even talked about artificial intelligence yet, but that probably is the next bit, where once you've digitized your catalog in BigCommerce, you've implemented a tool like this, we can layer AI to do suggestions for like quotes, like an auto quote suggest or an auto fill of sort of a reorder. So there's a lot of things that we're doing to implement AI on top of this to get better insights across those customers, right? So I've got hundreds of customers, and I can't memorize the buying pattern of every single one of those customers, but that does exist. And then because of these tools that we can then layer on top of, say, a quote functionality, we can go do our jobs better, basically, right? It's not going to replace anyone's jobs in sales. I think people still want to buy from people, but ultimately it would be easier for you to adopt that than if you're just going from a manual process, then layering in artificial intelligence, but then you don't have a lot of the foundational components in place to really make that work, right? That would be the other bit.
And you want to take a crack maybe at the first two that we had come in, one from
Sure.
Vic and one from
Yeah, just maybe
Anonymous?
one other item to add to that, because I think it's such an important part of it is when I was leading marketing and e-commerce for some of these industrial companies, the conversation I would have with the salespeople is, wouldn't you love every single lead that I give you to be someone that's already made a purchase? Right? There's no more cold leads, right? And so the website was our way to bring in new customers or new contacts at existing customers and pass those over to a sales team for vetting and figuring out if they would stay in a territory or stay unmanaged. But every single lead we gave them was a buying customer, right? It makes that sales process for that. It's a much easier conversation. They're already approved to buy from you. They've already experienced your service, and now your job is to go talk to them again. It was a great way to convince the sales team that this was a benefit to them. And then just on the quoting piece too, like first back on the desk in an industrial environment usually wins, right? All the other things aside. And so if these tools can make you faster and getting back on that desk first, your quote conversion rates are going to go through the roof.
Yeah.
One other bit on that is live chat. Being able to quickly offer a live chat feature on the site and then integrating your quote into a chat session. It's incredible. It's very efficient.
Yeah. No, absolutely. A few other questions that came in around the completeness of the data as well as some of the product groups. And then I'll also say if we don't get to every question, we'll follow up with answers after the fact, but I'll try to take two in one here. So on the completeness of the data, one of the things that we offer our manufacturer partners is a data health assessment as a part of those manufacturers working with us. So we give them feedback on the quality of their data, the accuracy, the consistency, any gaps in their data. And so they use that to continuously improve their data. And when they use those data health reports, we see really, really strong, complete, thorough data from our manufacturers. What we also find is a lot of them have the rich data. It's just that the traditional ways of working with each manufacturer limited what you were getting. So I can follow up with a few examples, but if you go to our website and you see some in our success story section, you'll see some side-by-side comparisons of what some distributors have on their site today, and then what was actually available to them, but they just weren't able to bring it into their e-commerce platform or put it on their product page. And so, so there's some really, really good data available. It's just about the process of getting it where it needs to be, and then also educating them on where those improvements need to come. And we do that through our data health assessment. And then quickly on the product groups, if the manufacturers have their product data, products grouped, and then the variants by the SKU level variants, we absolutely pass those along as well.
I'll take the last one. So we aren't importing PDFs actively as part of the app. So we're actually referencing back to DDS. DDS stores those PDFs and hosts them. So that's part of how we can get to that 100,000 SKU process pretty quickly. There are ways to be able to deliver that, but those PDFs are hosted there. We're not trying to pull in terabytes of PDF information. So DDS is kind enough to structure that for us, associate that to the products, and then we have that available to the storefront very quickly. Right. Any other questions? All right, that one. Okay, if there's no further questions, I'm going to go ahead and give you the opportunity. So I'm going to hold up the jar again. My head for scale, my head is big, so if that doesn't help at all. But this is your chance. I did different colors to create some optical illusion. It's like the fish. I hold it forward. But so you got to guess between 1 and 200. We want to be closest but not over for the iPad winner. So go ahead and type that into the chat. If you happen to say the exact same number as somebody else, then we're going to go ahead and are people entering? They're entering the QA. All right, you can do it in the QA too, but so we'll see. Oh, chat's disabled, man. All right, got to go with the QA then. Thank you guys. We'll go with the QA. So we'll give you time here to get those all in. So we've got some strategic thinkers happening here.
The best odds to win an iPad I've ever seen in my life.
I know, it's pretty good. Go ahead and enter your number into the Q&A.
It's like
We've got some close ones. All right, we got some good numbers. And I'm not going to give away who the winner is quite yet. We'll give you another minute. We're going to wrap this up in just a few more seconds. So I'm going off screen with it, which doesn't help.
Nobody took the Price is Right approach of 1.
Oh yeah, start low. And maybe you prompted somebody.
Yeah.
That gives them a pretty good range there. All right, I'm gonna do the countdown here. So you're 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, a little tumble action, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Our answer was 158. 158 was the answer. So we want to be under, but not over. I've got a 144. I'm seeing, it looks like it's maybe my best number right now, 144. All right.
That's what I had too, which is amazing. It was the first guess.
All right, Daniel, you are our winner. So we'll follow up and arrange shipping with you. So congratulations on taking home a new iPad just in time for, maybe this solves a Christmas gift need for you, or a Halloween gift, I don't know. But thanks for showing up,
coming to your
everybody.
house if you're giving away iPads for Halloween, I'll tell you what.
Yeah, it's a good place. All right, so we'll get the recording out. We'll get some follow-up communication with our contact information. And if you would like to have a conversation, look at how we can deploy this for you and that time to go live story and what we can achieve for you. We'd love to have that. All right. Bye, everyone.
Absolutely. Thank you.